All right, guys, so welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to go over should you job hop or should you stay within the same company and grow? So these are the two different sort of routes you can take while being a network engineer or someone in tech, mainly because these two routes are great, right? In terms of growth, right? They both have their pros, they both have their cons. So let's talk about staying within one company and how that can impact your career. So if you stay within one company, you get your, let's say you get your salary, you start off at 90K as a network engineer. The good thing about staying within company is, we'll start with the bad thing. Bad news is you're definitely gonna make less money long term. Long term, you are gonna make less money. So that's one big con, and we'll get to that later. But it's because your increase in salary that you get in terms of promotion is gonna be very minuscule compared to what you can get leaving the company and elsewhere. So that's just one big con, I would say. Right there is that you'll make less money over time. But now let's talk about another pro now instead of a con. One pro is that when you stay within one company, you know the company system, you know the company lingo, you know who works there, you know a lot of people who are in that company, right? So you kind of have this seniority within the company, and that seniority is kind of nice to have. It's really hard to understand until you lose it or have it. Is that when you're with a company for a while, you grow within the company, you still have that user ID number that's probably one of the oldest user IDs. You get very comfortable as well. The thing when you move into a new company is that you're gonna have to do a lot of different things, and the onboarding process can be intense, and you're doing things that you haven't seen before. That's one thing that may be different for you guys, right? So, but in terms of staying with a company, you grow within that company, you learn a lot, you learn about the company info, and you get really invested in that company. And also another pro is that the company's going to see a lot of value in you long term the longer you stay with them, right? You become an asset to the company. It's a very low chance of you getting laid off, right? If you're new to the company, you're the first one to get laid off, right? But if you've been there for a while, for 10, 20 years, that's really a comfortable situation to be in. You're probably going to the same office every day, you're meeting the same people every day, and it's kind of like this, let's say it's like, I hate calling work family, but it's like people you see all the time. It's like, you know them, you trust them, you like them, whatever, right? So that's one good thing about it. Also gives you options to move around the company, right? When you've been at a company for 10 years, you can definitely move up within the company and become like sort of a senior level position or get into management quite easily, right? Because let's say you've been there for 10 years as an engineer, right? Those 10 years are great, but now you can probably get promoted to a manager or a director the longer you stay, and eventually VP, right? And a lot of companies like to hire within, especially people who stay long enough, right? So when you stay long enough, you can definitely move up the ladder, and you can definitely see potential for growth, right? So that's one good thing about it. The con about that is it's going to be very slow growth, right? So salary wise, very slow. But I would say to get into these higher level roles, you can definitely see a path. You can definitely see the light at the end of the tunnel, but the growth is going to be very little. Now let's go into job hopping. So people who job hop is like usually every 1 to 2 years, or 3 years, they would move to another company, right? And this kind of way is like you're playing with fire, I would say. You are going to be making much more money. You can, like I said, get a 30% increase in salary, 40% increase in salary, 50, 60, 70. I've seen people even get a 100% increase in salary from job hopping, right? And the thing with job hopping is you can definitely make a lot more money doing it, but there is going to be more risk. And like I said, there's always, whenever there's a reward, there's the bigger the reward, the more the risk of losing your job, right? Because when you go to a new company, you're kind of like not tenured in that position, and after some time, they can let you go, or you can get laid off, or because you're new, like it's easy for you, like you're the first one on the chopping block, right? So that's kind of what happens in that sense right there. But the good news is also when you actually start job hopping, you actually become more skillful, right? Because here's the thing: when you stay at one company, you're probably going to be doing the same thing every day. You understand the company info, you're doing the same thing day in, day out. But now when you go to a new company, you're going to see a new stack, new technologies, new software, new hardware. You're going to be seeing a lot of new things. And actually, those people who job hop actually know more usually than someone who stays at that one company for a while. So that's another pro, is that you get to see a lot of different things that different companies do, right? So yeah, one con is also, it can be very demanding, right? You're constantly looking for jobs, you're constantly having to interview. That's one big thing that can be a bit much, especially when you already have a job and you're looking for something better. That's one big issue when it comes to job hopping. So those are really the two differences. But if you guys are really serious about, if your goal is just like, I'm here to go to tech and make as much money as possible, I don't care what it takes, then job hop. If you're looking to stay within a company, grow, mature within it, be tenured in that position, and be highly respected by your team members, that's kind of where you would want to just stay at one company, grow within it, use the benefits that they provide for you, and just stay at one company and just, have a relaxed sort of position there, right? that's kind of one option right there. So there's pros and cons to each. You're gonna be making less money in one. The other one, you're gonna be playing with fire, jumping from job to job to job, but you are gonna be making a lot more money, right? In terms of salary ranges, you're gonna be increasing salary, but also a little bit increase in risk of losing your job in case of the company going under, right? So that's kind of the two differences. What do I recommend? It depends on I can't make the decision for you. It just on what you want to do. Right. I've done both. I've done it where I've stayed at the company for a while, or I mean, I've only been in the industry for 4 years, so I can't really give experience. But I'm curious to see what other people have to say in terms of that. But job hopping definitely can give you a really big increase in salary, but you also have to remember you're playing with some risk, and you also have to keep learning, right? So there's always a give and take with everything on that front. But I would say, it's up to you, right? Usually you got to remember, like, what company are you working for, right? If you're not happy where you're at, then you're just gonna leave anyways, right? It doesn't matter how much you want to stay at the company, you're probably just gonna leave. But if you're happy with the company, you want to keep growing with it, then there's no issue in staying. But obviously, if you want to increase your income and you want to make some more money, which it's a big factor for a lot of people. You have families to take care of, and that's that's the type of position where you're probably going to say, okay, cool, let me just go find another job that pays more, right? So just know that you're gonna have to interview more, and it's gonna be more stressful and all this stuff. So there's always a give and take, but I recommend whatever you want. I'm not gonna make that recommendation for you, but these are some of the questions you have to ask yourself before you make that jump, right? So it's up to you. But if you guys are in the comment section below, please, I want to see, are you guys more of a job hopper who's, in it for the money and just trying to grow? Or are you, one who wants to relax, chill in one company, be tenured, be respected, grow within the company, maybe even move up the corporate ladder eventually at some point? Or are you guys like just trying to get that salary increase, and move it to the next salary range as quickly as you possibly can? So it's all up to you on what you want to do. And, there's no wrong answer, right? You're not a bad person. A lot of the times people will say, like, oh, is my resume going to look bad if they see me? I've worked at 5 jobs in the past, 10 years. Like I said, I don't think so, right? Because that's just, that's just kind of who you are. And that's kind of how the tech industry has always been nowadays. It's very rare to find someone who's been in a company for more than 20 years, right? That used to be a really big thing maybe 25 years ago. But as of right now, that's not a big thing going on. So companies understand that people, come and go. People understand that, it's kind of a short-term thing, not really a long-term thing. So that's kind of how I see things. So go ahead in the comment section below if you have any questions on this. But if you guys are looking to become a network engineer and need mentorship, go ahead and click the link down below. And thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate you guys' time. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to watch more videos. And thank you guys so much, and peace.